In today's video, we're going to test out some different chicken treats and enrichment items. My chickens will be testing these and some other items in this video, but since I don't want to overload them on treats in one day, I'll be filming this over the course of a few days. And then we'll put it all together and show you how it goes. So let's get started with these. I think they're really going to enjoy making this video with me. So this is a high protein chicken snack that you can get at your local feed store. If for some reason your feed store doesn't carry these, you can find them online. They're by Happy Hen. It is 15.5% protein. Whoa! She just jumped up and tried to take it. Anyways, she might do it again. And the ingredients are oat kernels, wheat, dried mealworms, and potato starch. They seem very excited about this. I don't normally give this to them, so this is going to be pretty new, so we'll see what they think. But they are smart, and they've come to learn that things in bags generally mean a yummy snack for them. So the point of this treat is obviously one, it's for them to have something yummy to eat, but also it is formed in a ball so that way they can't eat the grain really fast and have it disappear. It's meant to last a little bit longer, make them have to peck at it and work for it a little bit. And it's in the shape of a ball so that when they do peck at it, it's supposed to roll around a little bit and it'll stimulate them mentally that way. And it'll stimulate them physically too because they have to follow it around and chase it if it rolls away. Chickens, of course, like to eat bugs. They've even been known to eat small animals such as rodents. So when they see a treat rolling away, it's going to trigger that prey drive that they do have. So this is a good way to give them a treat and also keep them mentally and physically stimulated. I think we're going to give this one a 6 out of 10, 10 being the highest score, because they definitely like it, and I like how it's going to keep them physically and mentally stimulated. I think the idea behind it was pretty good. The reason why I'm not going to give it a higher rating is because I've seen them go crazier for other snacks. So although they definitely like it, it's not going to be their favorite. And for that tiny little bag, it was pretty expensive. And of course, the price range will probably change depending on your area. So that's one thing to keep in mind. But another pro about this product is they've been pecking at it for a while now and it still hasn't fallen apart. So that is nice. It does seem to hold up. We're going to stick with the same brand for the next one. This is the Happy Hen Grub Frenzy. This is made from dried black soldier fly larvae. It's 100% natural. This brand does sell bags of just plain mealworms. They sell one of plain crickets, which is a little bit creepy for me. I don't really like that, but the chickens probably would like it. And they also sell a bug mix. But like I said, this is just the black soldier fly larva, and this is a very good blend for laying hens because not only is it high in protein, but black soldier fly larvae are actually higher in calcium than mealworms are, so it's really good if your hens are laying eggs. Now I do just want to put a little disclaimer in there. I feel like this is common sense, but there are so many new chicken owners now that I feel like it's worth mentioning that these are all just treats. This is not a complete diet. Make sure your hens have layer feed available to them at all times. And don't mind the little bit of mud in here. We're in the middle of winter and you know how difficult that can be sometimes. They can see the worms through the little window in the bag. And you can tell right off the bat that this one's going to be a hit with them. So let's see what they think. They're definitely excited about it. So that was gone in no time. Let's see if they pass the running test, where if I throw a treat and they all run after it, you know it's good. I think it's a hit. So I think we're gonna rate the Happy Hen Grub Frenzy as a 9.5 out of 10. As you can see, they go absolutely crazy for it. They couldn't wait for me to get it out of the bag. They devoured it in no time. So the chickens love how it tastes. I like that it's a healthy, high calcium option for them. The one downside is, of course, it's a very small and very easy to eat item, so it's not gonna last long. Now, of course, you don't wanna give them this whole bag all at once. You wanna make it last. But when you do offer to them, it's gonna go quickly. So you can feed it right from your hand like I showed you the first time with it, and that's actually a really good way to tame your birds if they aren't already, or if you free range them, it's a good way to train them and teach them to come to you, so that way you can put them away at night and put them in their coop where they'll be safer. So it's great for that, or if you want to sprinkle it on the ground, you can do that and maybe hide it in a few different places so it lasts them a little bit longer, because then they'll spend time walking around looking for it. And it comes in a bag that can seal right back up at the top, so that's really nice. I like that. It's very convenient for storage. And again, you should be able to find this at your local feed store. If not, you can find it online. So I've seen a lot of people hang these up in their chicken areas, and I'm going to give this one a pretty low rating, actually. I'm going to say this is probably just like a 3 out of 10. It's cute. I like the idea behind it because chickens do like to peck at things. I just got this one off of Amazon. Excuse the mud. Like I said, we just had rain recently and it all splashed back up. But mine don't really care for it. They don't really play with it. Now, that doesn't mean that your chickens won't. You can usually find these pretty cheap, so if you want to give it a try, I say go for it. Because, like I said, chickens do like to peck, and they do like colors. So just because mine aren't really interested in it doesn't mean that yours won't be. But, I mean, it adds a little bit of color to their area, and once in a while they might come up and peck at it. So I didn't see any point in getting rid of it, but again, it's not at the top of our list. I do, however, have some little enrichment items and some toys that they really do happen to like, and we will be going over those very shortly. But before we get to that, let me show you what I have going on in the basement for them. So we're in the basement, and as you can see, I have some fodder that I've sprouted for the chickens. Once your sprouts get 4 inches or taller, it's considered fodder. So I have a video all about this if you want to check it out. It teaches you how to do this. In my video about that, I sprouted oat seed and wheat seed. This time I did barley and wheat. And it's so simple. You'll have this ready in about a week. So in just another day or two, it'll be ready for the chickens. I'm going to water it in just a moment. And then we'll follow up with that later on in this video. But this is so simple and cheap to make. You can get the seed and everything you need just about at your local feed store. It's full of nutrients, it's easy for them to digest, and the fodder, or if you give it to them when it's smaller, the sprouts, will actually help make the egg yolk more vibrant when your hens eat this. The next treat that we're going to try is the Purina Farm to Flock hen treat. You can see they're already really excited about this one. So this is a high protein blend. It's 18% protein, and it has black soldier fly larvae, dried peas, pumpkin seeds, wheat, a high protein nugget, papaya, and safflower seeds. So it's filled with really nutritious stuff. So I think this one is a 7 out of 10. You can see they really, really like it, and it has a lot of good things in here, but it was pretty pricey for this little bag. Next, we're going to try Bluebird nuggets. I actually got these in the wild bird section of the feed store. It contains corn, roasted peanuts, beef suet, oats, raisins, and soy oil. Eight out of 10. They really like this, and the ingredients are good, especially in the wintertime like it is now, or if they're malting because it's high in protein. It's soft, so it's easy for them to eat, and this bag was actually pretty cheap. And our fodder is finally ready, so I'm going to give that to them now too. So you can see you can make this completely without soil. It's real simple, and it'll just lift right up. Kind of reminds me of a little welcoming mat. All the roots hold it together. And now they have fresh greens to eat. It's filled with vitamins, minerals, nutrients. It's easier to digest than the seed itself. And it'll really help enhance their yolk color if they eat this on a regular basis. And it's low in calories, so you don't have to worry about them getting fat off of this treat. We'll rate this one a 9 out of 10. It has a high rating because, like I was just saying, it's really, really healthy for them. It was super simple and cheap to make, and they really, really love it, and it's going to keep them occupied for a while. The only reason it's not a 10 out of 10 is because obviously it did take a little bit of effort to make. And it usually takes about a week before you can give it to them. And like I said, it's real simple to do, not a big deal. But if you're really busy, it could be a little bit inconvenient having to sprout it and take care of it. But other than that, I'd say this one is definitely a hit. Hentastic mealworm treats, 7 out of 10. I say they're pretty fairly priced. The only downside is it's a very small bag, so it can go pretty quickly. As you can tell, they really, really like it though. It's made of wheat flour, beef, and it has oregano, peanut flour, and dried mealworms in it. And oregano is filled with health benefits. And the mealworms, of course, give the chickens protein. Sunflower seeds. Nine out of 10. I hesitate to give anything a 10 out of 10 because nothing is technically perfect, but this treat comes pretty close because they really, really love it. Sunflower seeds are easy to come by. You can find them in most stores, local feed stores, which I always say if you can find them at a local business, please opt to buy it from there first. But you can even get it at places like pet stores, Walmart, Lowe's, Home Depot, so they're not hard to find. They're pretty affordable for the most part. And they love them. They also have a bunch of really good health benefits. I will put them on the screen here. And they're especially good for the winter time or if they're malting because they're rich in protein, and the oils and black oil sunflower seed, if you use those, really help with their skin health, and it makes their feathers really shiny. Now the reason why it can lose a few points is because if you overfeed them, especially if it's the black oil sunflower seeds, there's a potential that it could make them gain weight. So just make sure you give it to them sparingly as a little treat. Next we have chicken scratch. I've talked about this in a lot of videos, so you've probably already heard about it if you've seen some of my other ones. You can buy scratch at your local feed store. Most places have just like a regular 2-grain scratch, or you can get a high protein one that has some seeds in it and some extra stuff, which obviously, as the name suggests, is higher in protein. I prefer to make my own. So I bought all the ingredients from my local feed store. I got oats, wheat, and barley for the grains. I got whole shell corn, because I've heard that the whole kernel pieces have more nutrition in them than cracked corn, which makes sense because it's the whole complete one. We got sunflower seeds in there. And then you can either add in dried grubs or mealworms. Then I even have some dried oregano pellets in here. And you can also add flaxseed, which is a great idea because the omega-3s in flaxseed are so healthy for so many different reasons. And I'm actually going to make a video about this coming up soon, so stay tuned for that. But if you add flaxseed into your chicken's diet, it has the potential to make their eggs richer in omega-3s, so when you eat their eggs, they'll be healthier for you. And trust me, you want omega-3s in your diet. But like I said, we'll get more into that another day. But I like to mix these in here. And I'm just going to give them a little bit because they already had some this morning. But I want you guys to see how much they love it. So they go crazy for this. I always give them a small amount every morning when I first let them out. And if I don't have it right away, they get concerned that they're not going to get their little treat in the morning, and they get very upset, and they will stalk me and they'll cause a fuss until they get it. So it's nice. It really helps tame them. And like I was saying about other treats earlier, it's a good way to train them to come to you, especially if you free range, so that's nice. They really enjoy it, and you can scatter it around so it takes longer for them to find little pieces, because chickens are really supposed to be foraging and looking for food all day long. And since they're small pieces, you could hide it throughout their enclosure and it'll give them something to do and something to look for. Birds as a species are incredibly intelligent, and a lot of people might not realize this, but chickens are actually pretty smart, so they need things to keep them occupied and to stimulate their natural instincts. And when you make chicken scratch, or if you buy it and give it to them, it's nice because it provides them with extra protein, some oils from the black oil sunflower seed, carbohydrates from the corn, so that's good in the winter time. It'll really help them keep their energy levels up. Fiber, vitamins, minerals from the grains. Just make sure that you're providing grit for your chickens. They should have it anyway because it helps them digest their food, but when you're giving them treats like this, especially ones that have hard shells on it, like the corn or the sunflower seeds, the grit really helps them to break that up and digest it better when they eat it. So, based off all that, I say we give that a 9.5 out of 10. Scratch grains definitely cannot be a complete diet, but it is nice to supplement to their regular diet. And it gives them a nice variety, especially if you make it homemade like I do, so that way you can add some extra things into it. Now let's see how they react to the Hentastic Jumbo Chicken Treat. This one is made of mealworms, oregano, mint, turmeric, which is extremely healthy, basil, and parsley. So they've had this before, and I will say it really surprised me that this lasted a lot longer than I expected it to, but it's really, really dense. So there's actually more to this than it looks. The whole thing is pretty solid. And you can actually buy a little holder to hang it up to keep this in. I don't have one. The store that I was at did not have one, so I'm going to have to find one somewhere else and get that. They really, really enjoy this. When I gave this to them the first time, it lasted 2 days, so I was shocked. And I like that this one has really healthy ingredients, so I'm going to say this one is a 9 out of 10. Now we're going to try this treat ball. You can see that Puka's excited. They've never tried this one before, so let's see how they like it. I filled it with lettuce and grass, which that's one nice thing about this one. You can just go in your yard, and as long as you don't treat your grass with anything, of course, you can fill it up in here, so it's a nice cheap way to give them treats. And the ball, of course, makes it so that they can't eat it all at once. They have to work for it, so it'll last longer and give them some mental and physical stimulation while they work to get the treats out of the ball. And it has another smaller ball in here just to make sound. So let's see if they can figure it out. Sometimes birds are afraid of new objects, so I was wondering if they'd be afraid of it, but you can see that so far so good. They're still not completely sure how to work it, but I bet once they figure it out, they'll probably really like it. And it seems pretty durable, which is good. I will say the one downside though is that if they have trouble getting the vegetables out, it will be kind of difficult to clear them out of there later, because of course you don't want to leave old food in it. But I do like the concept behind it. Oh look, she got a piece. So we'll give this one a 5 out of 10 because the other downside is since you put it on the ground and let it roll around, it's going to get dirty. So you'll have to wash it. That's not a big deal. It looks simple enough to wash. But like I said, if they don't get all of the treats out, the slots are pretty tiny. So you'll have to just put some effort in and make sure you clear all the food out that they don't happen to get. And since this is a completely new object to them, sometimes it takes them a while to really get the hang of new things. So stay tuned because I'll do a follow-up video on this and let you guys know a full detailed review after they've gotten used to this item. And then to go with the treat ball theme, here is a similar alternative. This one hangs up, as you can see, which is nice because it keeps it off of the ground. It'll keep that and the treats inside of it clean and dirt-free. But it's a similar concept behind it. It limits how quickly they can get the treats out, so it'll keep them occupied longer. It's designed so you can fill it with different fruits or vegetables. So that's nice. They can have a nice, fresh, healthy, low-calorie snack out of a treat like this. And it would be really good and refreshing for them in the summertime to put some lettuce in there to cool them off, keep them hydrated. Now, same with the other one, you will have to make sure that if they don't happen to get all the treats out of it, that you clean it out. But they've had this one since last summer, and they never have an issue clearing all the treats out of it. It keeps them occupied for a while. You can see it is a little bit faded from being in the sun, but other than that, it's held up pretty well, so we'll say that this one is a 7 out of 10. And last but not least, we have a suet cake. You can get this in the wild bird section of the store. They know what this is. They're very excited about it. It's made out of beef suet, corn, milo, wheat, millet, and sunflower seeds. This is a good treat, especially in the wintertime or if they're malting. It'll help keep their calories up on those really cold, difficult winter days. And you can buy a suet cage to go along with it to hold it in, so that way it'll keep it clean, you can hang it up, and it'll take longer for them to eat it because they have to peck it through the little holes. So it'll make them work for it, which is good. And they really like it. In a lot of stores you can also find mealworm suet too, which they would probably really like. You do want to be careful with it. You don't want to give this to them all the time because you don't want them to become overweight. And another downside is if they don't eat this fast enough, the squirrels might find it because squirrels really love suet. But with all the chickens that I have, they go through it fairly quickly. So that has not been an issue. But But as a disclaimer, if you don't have a lot of chickens and they aren't finishing these treats, make sure you put the treats away in an enclosed spot overnight, because you don't want to attract any animals. You don't want to attract raccoons, possums, rodents. You don't want any pest issues. So make sure that any uneaten food is put away at night.